Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So lots to negotiate on this video today. Going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Gareth Bale. Also going to give you the latest news about Bruno Fernandes, and of course also lots of other things to currently talk about. But we'll currently start with Gareth Bale. So we do know now it's looking very likely, of course, that he's currently going to be leaving Real Madrid. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane did confirm yesterday. He said that Gareth Bale is closer to leaving Real Madrid and all that. Even though Gareth Bale's agent has indicated out that Gareth Bale, of course, has got no intentions of leaving Real Madrid, and I do believe Gareth Bale's agent has actually classified Zinedine Zidane as a disgrace and all that. But potentially we do know Real Madrid are looking to offload a couple of their players anyway, to help them generate funds and all that, because obviously Real Madrid have spent £300 million this summer, of course, on 5 players. But we do know with Gareth Bale, obviously we do know that he has been relentlessly linked to move to Manchester United. Obviously I do believe he's been linked to a move to Manchester United since 2012 or 2013, and of course the rumours have continued to persist since then. But I do believe there is quite a few teams that are in there now for Gareth Bale, and I do believe now, according to recent reports, his likely destination of course is China. Reports are coming out from the this is coming from the Chinese press. They are reportedly saying that Gareth Bale has agreed to go and play, in the Chinese Super League. I can't remember the team that he has agreed with. I can't pronounce the current name, but reportedly he's been offered £1 million a week to currently go play in the Chinese Super League and all that. And I do believe he could become I think this will actually make him the first player to be on £1 million a week and all that. So reportedly Gareth Bale could be currently making the move to China. There's also been talks about making a possible return to Tottenham and all that. But like I did say, I don't want Gareth Bale at Manchester United and all that. We do know Real Madrid are obviously desperate to include Gareth Bale in their bid to currently sign Paul Pogba. But like I said, according to recent reports, it's looking likely he could be currently going to China. But like I did say, Gareth Bale has been very inconsistent for Real Madrid in the last couple of seasons and all that. But obviously, Real Madrid did confirm at the end of last season, as you all do currently remember, Zinedine Zidane confirmed that Gareth Bale has no future at Real Madrid, and he also basically indicated out Zinedine Zidane said he no longer fits in his current plans and that at Real Madrid. Even though I don't think Gareth Bale has got any intentions of leaving Real Madrid, but you do now have got concerns about Gareth Bale, because obviously he's been inconsistent in the last couple of seasons. Obviously he's aging up now. He's just recently turned 30 years of age. Obviously he's injury prone and all that. But like I said, despite the fact that Gareth Bale is injury prone, I still think his ratio is very good. His stats are still very impressive, because obviously he scored 102 goals in 231 games for Real Madrid in all competitions, and I do believe he's provided around 65 assists. And I think he's scored 102 goals in all competitions. I think 78 of those goals have obviously come in the La Liga. So his stats are currently quite impressive. And if you've asked me a couple of years ago, I probably would have took Gareth Bale and that at Manchester United, but I do believe he's currently too inconsistent now. And obviously we do know Real Madrid paid £85 million from back in 2013, and Real Madrid will probably find it difficult to recoup the initial £85 million of course that they did pay for him 6 years ago. But yeah, I think he's still linked to move to Manchester United and all that. But like I said, Bale has been at Real Madrid 6 years. Obviously he has won several honours as well, including 4 Champions Leagues and the La Liga and all that. But he is currently 30 years of age now. And we do know Bale can play on the left. Also Bale can play on the right. I think initially when he was a lot younger, he also operated as a left back, did Gareth Bale. But I do believe there's better current solutions out there than Bale. So reportedly he's been offered around £1 million a week to go and play in the Chinese Super League, and allegedly it says he has agreed to go and play in the Chinese Super League. So reportedly that could be Gareth Bale's next destination, or maybe some Manchester United fans would like to see him come in and all that. Obviously as reports stemmed out a while back saying that we inquired about getting Gareth Bale on loan. He said initially we were keen on getting him on a long season loan and all that. Well, it was initially 2-year loan because there was an option to extend it by a further 12 months, and it reportedly said it would help Real Madrid. It would be beneficial them because it would knock around £50 or £60 million off their wage. But it did say we was happy to pay his wages off and all that. We was willing to pay him a loan fee for. So I do believe before we inquired about getting Gareth Bale and that on loan, then maybe with the option to buy him at the end of the loan, maybe for around 50 or 60 million pounds. But I do believe if Real Madrid did get rid of him permanently, I do believe they could still cash in around maybe 55 or 60 million pounds. But I don't think they recoup recoup the initial £85 million that they did pay for him, back in 2013. So reportedly now, Bale, according to recent reports, looking like, he's going to be, currently playing in China. But we do know he mainly plays on the wing, so he can play on the left, he can play on the right, and obviously Manchester United, of course, are in search for a current winner. So that is the latest news I wanted to update you on about Gareth Bale. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has basically, confirmed, he's looking to sign 1 or 2 more players, before this current window does shut. Obviously, I think there's now just over 2 weeks remaining now in this current transfer window, and potentially, I think we need to be more competitive in this window, because analysing it, we haven't been really competitive in the last couple of windows. Obviously, we didn't sign anyone in January. Obviously, we didn't sign anyone last summer, but we have got 2 players so far on the board this summer. We have spent £65 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and look so far what good signings they've proven to be, because we've seen glimpses of them. They've started pre-season really, really well. Daniel James, of course, is still a prospect, and he's still he needs to he still needs time to develop, in my opinion, does Daniel James. But I think he'll succeed at Manchester United, and he's done well in pre-season so far. With Wan-Bissaka, he's definitely got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United. And I do believe we paid reasonable figures for them. I think £50 million is reasonable in this market at this day and age, for Wan-Bissaka, and that's what we paid for Wan-Bissaka. And I think £18 million is a reasonable figure, and it's a much cheaper solution, compared to what we paid, for the likes of Pogba and Lukaku and that in recent years. But we need more than Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and this is why Solskjaer said he wants to bring at least 1 or 2 more players in to Manchester United and all that. Like I said, only just over 2 weeks now remaining in this current window, and there has been growing frustration around Manchester United, in regards to our transfer business and all that, because obviously if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players that he does currently want, if he doesn't get all the players that he wants, you can basically say that the board have currently let him down. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently speaking about our ambitions for next season, and he believes we'll be aiming for further up than 4th and all that. So this is what he's basically said. But we need to see for definitely vast improvements going on to this season, because last season was disappointing. We finished 6th. We failed to qualify. We failed to get in the Champions League and all that. And we need to see vast improvements going into this season. I do believe Manchester United are going to have a better season in the Premier League this season. I think we're going to have a much better season. I don't think we'll win the league, so I am very, very sceptical about that. But I do believe probably at least our expectations will be to probably finish in that top 5. Unless you say our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. But I think we maybe could finish in the top 4 or maybe a top 3 going on into this season. So I do believe we will definitely currently improve. But like I did say, there is still lots to currently address in the squad. Obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously, as you all know, worked out his transfer strategy. Obviously, he wants to recommend a number of young players to come in this summer that can grow, develop and emulate of course into superstars. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he's said basically, there's been a lot of speculation about players coming in, and obviously players going out. Solskjaer's very adamant, of course, that we don't currently need to sell players. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, we're not intending on overspending on our current transfer tax. Quite a few people said, look, we should be sensible over our recruitment this summer. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was recently, he recently spoken about our recruitment policy and all that. But like I said, there has been so many players on our agenda. Like I said, we've got to get an experienced centre-half in, because we've got issues defensively. We need a couple of new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba. And I think Manchester United, definitely need a right winner. But like I did say with Bale, I just don't want him, to come to Manchester United. But I think he's going to be going to China now, to be quite honest with you, according to recent reports. And yeah. So we'll give you the latest news now in regards to Bruno Fernandes. Now I have obviously been giving an update about Bruno Fernandes, of course, on a regular basis, because obviously we do know for the entirety of the summer that Bruno Fernandes has been linked with move to Manchester United, and we do know Manchester United have held talks for quite some time with Sporting Lisbon, of course, over getting a deal concluded. But more additional information now is updated about Bruno Fernandes. So reportedly Manchester United are prepared to submit around a £49 million bid, or is it a £50 million bid for Bruno Fernandes? Obviously, more than likely, this is going to be too insufficient for Sporting Lisbon, because as obviously Sporting Lisbon have blatantly made it clear, they're looking for somewhere in the region of around £70 million. I do believe, Manchester United are reluctant, to pay £70 million for Bruno Fernandes. But now the Sporting Lisbon president, Federico Fernandes, he's basically, giving us an update and all that. And Federico Fernandes has basically said that Federico Fernandes has basically said he's basically said he's revealed basically, what fee, Manchester United, he has revealed what fee that Manchester United have to pay if we have got any chances of signing Bruno Fernandes and all that. And I think reportedly, I think it's going to take a bid in the excess of around £56 million, to try, to convince, Sporting Lisbon to offload Bruno Fernandes. So Federico Fernandes has basically said, what fee Manchester United, do need to currently pay to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him. So I think we've got to pay in the excess of at least £56 million, maybe even more than £56 million. So maybe if we were to come up with a bid of around 58 or 59 million or something like that, this could probably convince Sporting Lisbon to currently offload him. We haven't even made an official bid yet for Bruno Fernandes, by the way, but we are orchestrating, of course, on putting around a £49 million bidding for him and all that. But obviously, as you all do know, that Sporting Lisbon's the boss of Sporting Lisbon, he's obviously he said basically it's probable. He said it's very probable that Bruno Fernandes will be leaving Sporting Lisbon, as he has currently confirmed as a boss Sporting Lisbon. So basically he's indicated out that Bruno Fernandes' transfer to Manchester United is close and all that. But like I did say, for quite some time, the valuation seems to be the stumbling block, Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Manchester United and all that. Because obviously, if he comes to Manchester United, I think he's set to get around 100 grand a week. Obviously, it says we were willing to pay him around 5.5 million a year, which obviously equates to around 100 grand a week and all that. But like I did initially say, we've been emerged as the front runners, to sign Bruno Fernandes for quite some time now and all that. Obviously, I think his agent was recently in England, to obviously thrash out a deal with Manchester United for Bruno Fernandes, because obviously Bruno Fernandes' agent is looking for the best possible deal for his client. Obviously, we do know Tottenham have been in for him, also Liverpool and that have been in there for Bruno Fernandes, and I do believe Tottenham have held negotiations with his current agent. But I think Bruno Fernandes, was negotiating with his current representatives, about potential move to Manchester United. And I do believe. He's told his representative, that he actually wants to make a move to Manchester United. So I do believe, that's his current preference and all that. But I like Bruno Fernandes a lot, and it did reportedly say, was it last week, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was not going to be backed, for this particular signing, because obviously, I think the board have got concerns, about us, spending, substantial amount on a player that knows little about Champions League football, also hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level and all that. But I do believe, he would be the right type of player for Manchester United, and the situation with Paul Pogba, is not having any effect on Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United and all that. And I do believe if Bruno Fernandes, I think Bruno Fernandes move to Manchester United is not dependent on what happens with Paul Pogba, because it's still initially in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, to add a couple of reinforcements in that midfield. Bruno Fernandes, 24 years of age, still got a lot of years ahead of him. But Federico Fernandes has, spoken quite a few times about, Bruno Fernandes' transfer saga to Manchester United. He's recently come out now and said, he's come out and quoted out what fee Manchester United, need to pay him and all that to get him. And he also did say, there has been talks with Bruno Fernandes and Vim regards to his future and all that. But I do believe Bruno Fernandes blatantly made it clear that he does want to leave Sporting Lisbon. Obviously, Sporting Lisbon are in the market, obviously, looking for an adequate replacement for him. But like I did say, Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United, I do believe he'll succeed. He will exceed expectation levels, because he can score goals, he can create chances. And in coming to Manchester United, he'll definitely rejuvenate the team. Like I said, he'll win us them goals that we need from that midfield. So I think he'll be absolutely fantastic for us and all that. And I do believe, probably in my opinion, that Bruno Fernandes can emulate into like a Paul Scholes or a Michael Carrick, as he does develop and all that, Bruno Fernandes, because I know he hasn't got the experience of playing to the highest level really, but definitely I think he will succeed at Manchester United. But obviously last season scored 31 or was it 32 goals in all competitions for Sporting Lisbon last season in so many appearances. Was it around 50 appearances? He did currently do this. Obviously his initial release causes around £88 million, but as you all know, Manchester United are not determined to go anywhere near that figure. He's under contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023, because obviously he did, I think, did he sign a 5-year deal last summer, if I'm right, Bruno Fernandes. Obviously spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger, with the likes of Sampdoria and Udinese and Novia, so he did, spend the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger, and, he developed really, really well in Italy, and I thought he did really, really well during his time in Italy, but since his, in his 2 years in Portugal, he has tied it up, really, really well. So I think it's very imperative that we do get this deal over the line. But I do expect this week, Manchester United, to get 2 deals completed, and that should be, Harry Maguire from Leicester and Bruno Fernandes, of course, from Sporting Lisbon. But I believe anyway that the club need to currently sell players, to obviously help us generate funds and of course rebuild the squad. And obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, obviously, we have seen what 3 players leave the club. We saw Valencia leave Manchester United after serving 10 years with the club. Obviously, we saw, Ander Herrera, of course, leave on a free transfer, so we're going to need a replacement for him. And obviously, we saw Fellaini leave back in the January transfer window. So we have definitely got to currently address that current midfield. And so we are looking to sign one or we are looking to sign one or 2 more players and all that. And as I've been updating you on a regular basis with regards to Harry Maguire and all that, obviously the big breaking news came out yesterday about that. That was coming out from Bleacher Report. They said Manchester United have agreed a deal with Leicester for Harry Maguire, and it initially the fee the fee is around £80 million. Obviously that's a world record fee for the current defender, because obviously Leicester blatantly made it clear they're wanting the access around £80 million. So looking very, very likely, that he's going to be our 3rd signing this summer. And obviously, if he's moved to Manchester United is to materialise, it will take our spending to around £148 million so far this summer, because obviously we spent £65 million already on, Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and all that. And I think, Harry Maguire has actually, demanded, to be the captain and that of Manchester United. But I do believe, Manchester United, could consider, currently, giving him the captaincy and all that. Because I do believe, he will be a good leader in our back line. He'll show fantastic leadership. Of course, will Harry Maguire and all that. So he has demanded to be currently come the captain. But obviously we do know last week that reports indicated out that Harry Maguire basically informed Brendan Rodgers. He also informed his Leicester teammates, of course, that he does currently want to leave Leicester. To obviously rejuvenate his career and of course take his footballing career to the next level. And we do know it's Manchester United and Manchester City that have been battling out for his services. The reports did say yesterday that Harry Maguire's transfer from Leicester to Manchester United now is very, very imminent indeed. So it's looking very likely that it's currently not going to happen. I do believe we're paying around £70 million up front. These are £10 million add-ons included, which does potentially rise up to around £80 million pounds. And obviously I don't know if there's a lot of credibility in it, because obviously going back reflecting back the other week, it was actually stemming from Duncan Castles, and Duncan Castles isn't always reliable, as it has basically proven. And he basically said allegedly the other week that Manchester United agreed a world record fee of £80 million. It did say we'd pay £60 million up front, with £20 million in add-ons. Which does potentially rise it to £80 million. It said the other week, allegedly that Harry Maguire, was set to undergo his current medical with Manchester United, but obviously, that got proven to be a load of nonsense. But I do think for quite some time that Leicester City's valuation is seen to be the stumbling block, of Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire making his proposed move to Manchester United or Manchester City, because obviously we do know that City are not willing to pay what Leicester are demanding. Obviously, for quite some time, Manchester United were not willing to pay what Leicester were demanding, because, we was only willing to pay up to around, 70 or £75 million for his services. Obviously, we've already had a £70 million bid turned down for Harry Maguire. Obviously, that got confirmed from Sky Sports quite a few weeks ago, and now that got confirmed from Sky Sports. But, we've been in several talks with Leicester. Also, Manchester City, of course, have been in several talks with Leicester. Obviously, City have been seeing Harry Maguire as their number one target to actually replace Vincent Kompany. But obviously, reflecting back, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was looking like the City were going to get Harry Maguire. Obviously, he said initially City were orchestrating on giving him 280 grand a week. It also said, City, we're going to get him for the world record fee in that of £80 million. But it did initially confirm that Manchester City, of course, had withdrawn their interest. But analysing, Leicester basically, don't want to sell Harry Maguire, and this is the main factor reason why they demanded an extortionate amount. This is why, of course, they have priced him out in the transfer market, because obviously, looking at Leicester, do not currently want to sell Harry Maguire and all that. But Harry Maguire's made it clear, of course, that he does, currently want to leave Leicester. But initially, Leicester did say to Harry Maguire, you know, he can join Manchester United or Manchester City as long as, you know, Man United or Manchester City, of course, are willing to pay a world record fee for him. So reportedly now we have agreed a £80 million deal. Of course, obviously this £80 million figure is going to make him the most expensive defender in world football, ahead of Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, because obviously at this present time at the moment, you know, Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk is the most expensive defender in the world, because obviously Liverpool paid £75 million Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, and he's addressed their defensive deficiencies fantastically well. You know, you can't put Harry Maguire in, you know, Virgil van Dijk's calibre or level, because obviously, you know, Virgil van Dijk, I do believe, is regarded as one of the best centre-halves in the world, or is the best centre-half in the world, and all that. But I still believe Harry Maguire, you know, is, you know, if he comes to Manchester United, you know, he will definitely, you know, deliver the goods. It's also very beneficial as well because he is Premier League proven, and I do believe, you know, he will blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline, you know, currently fantastically well. But Brendan Rodgers is aware of the speculation, and, you know, as I did, obviously, did I give you an update quite recently? You know, Brendan Rodgers actually, you know, imposed a deadline on any potential bids for Harry Maguire, because obviously, you know, he was, Brendan Rodgers was recently speaking about, you know, Manchester United and Man City's interest in Harry Maguire, and he was also, yeah, so that's what he was discussing about and all that. But I think his overarching view is, he said basically, if Man United and Manchester City, you know, do want to get a deal over the line from him, you know, they've got to basically, you know, hurry up about the business. But yeah, so it's looking like now he's currently, you know, going to be coming to Manchester United. I do believe £80 million is too steep. I'd probably say maybe £65 or £70 million in this market this day and age would have been reasonable, you know, for Harry Maguire. But I think over £70 million, you know, basically, you know, we are basically, you know, paying too much. But I do believe, you know, he definitely, you know, will succeed at Manchester United, you know, anywhere. Very, very good central defender, like I said. And, you know, analysed it, you know, we haven't had a world-class central defender, you know, since we had the likes of Vidic, and, you know, since we had the likes of Fernandes and all that. And like I said, you know, we haven't had a good defence to rebuild on, you know, since we had the likes of Fernandes, Vidic, Gary Neville, and Cheese Everham and all that, because, you know, they were all good defenders, you know, back under the Alex Ferguson and Moreira. So, looking at, you know, we've had problems defensively, you know, for several years. And look at last season, we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games. So, that just shows, you know, the issues, of course, you know, we have currently got defensively and all that. But like I said, you know, reflecting back last summer, you know, our priority, of course, was to recommend a central defender to come in. But obviously, you know, reflecting back last summer, you know, we didn't currently, you know, get our number one targets, because obviously, you know, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho, of course, wanted to recommend into the football club and all that. But yeah, there's been a lot of central defenders, of course, on our agenda, because I think that's one of the pivotal areas where Man United have got to strengthen up. You know, some people say that midfield and that right wing. Some people think they're more essential areas, you know, than getting a central defender in them and all that. But I do believe, you know, we need at least one central defender. But we do know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anyway has identified, you know, Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target. He has identified Harry Maguire as his number one defensive target, and I think we're being relentlessly into him. I think we also was tracking him, you know, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United, because he initially, you know, began his career and that with Sheffield United, you know, did Harry Maguire. But Harry Maguire, I think he would show great leadership at Manchester United. You know, he shows that ability to play out from the back. You know, he's also very, very good in the air. I think his work ethic, and that's really, really good. Plus, he's British, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to recruit British talents to Manchester United this summer. Like I said, 26, still got a lot of years ahead of him. Not very fast, but I just don't think, you know, that's currently an issue. But yeah, but I thought initially, well, Harry Maguire's first choice preference was Manchester City ahead of Manchester United, of course, at one point. But so it's looking like, you know, we are currently, you know, going to get a deal more the line for him. But looking at it from a financial point of view, you know, Leicester are going to make a huge profit on the player, because Leicester paid around £17 million for him from Hull City, you know, a couple of years ago. Obviously, you know, he has been at Leicester now a couple of seasons. You know, he's made 76 appearances in all competitions. Obviously, 69 of those appearances, of course, have come in the Premier League. He only signed a new long-term contract with Leicester last summer, so don't forget he's under contract with them until 2023. He's a high Maguire and all that. And I think Mike Phelan, you know, is actually, you know, instructed Manchester United to get a deal over the line for him, because obviously, you know, during Mike Phelan's short tenure as Hull City manager, obviously, you know, he managed Harry Maguire and all that. So maybe Mike Phelan's keen on reuniting with the current player. But like I said, it's very, very likely he's going to be leaving Leicester, and obviously Leicester themselves are obviously going to want a replacement for him. Obviously, you know, reports came out the other week, actually, you know, saying that, you know, Leicester had allegedly agreed around the £45 million deal for Louis Dunk from Brighton and all that. But yeah, so hopefully, you know, Harry Maguire is going to come to Manchester United. I did say it could have been, well, it should have been announced today. May not now be announced today. You know, may be announced sometime this week and all that. And but yeah, I do believe a fee and that's been agreed. You know, which is very, very good news indeed. But Like I did say, I think the club are orchestrating on, selling one central defender. Of course, if Harry Maguire, move to Manchester United, does materialise. Obviously, I don't think Victor Lindelof, I don't think we're going to be offloading him, even though there has been recent reports, linking Victor Lindelof with a move to Barcelona. But I do believe, Victor Lindelof has actually, dismissed speculations, linking him with move to Barcelona. Because obviously, we do know how imperative, Victor Lindelof is. And he's going to definitely blend in alongside Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, should I say, is, going to blend in alongside Victor Lindelof in our backline fantastically well. I do believe we could possibly offload Rojo. We could possibly, offload Smalling. We could possibly offload Jones. We could possibly offload Alex Tuanzebe. Because analysing, we've got a lot of central defenders. I do believe, we've got around, 5 or 6. So I do believe, we are willing to offload one. Of course, if Harry Maguire, does currently come in. But like I did say, there's been a lot of central defenders on our agenda, obviously. There's still people talking about, Toby Alderweireld from Tottenham, and obviously, based on his, experience in that in the Premier League, I think Toby Alderweireld, that would be beneficial in that for Manchester United, don't get me wrong, but, and Toby Alderweireld, obviously, would be a much cheaper solution than Harry Maguire and all that, and he is available for reasonable figures, Toby Alderweireld, because his initial release cost is around £25 million. I do believe, these, I think, was it Dean Saunders or something like that, instructing Manchester United, to move away from, to forget about Harry Maguire and actually, go in for Toby Alderweireld, and we do know he's a cheaper solution. Analysing it, I don't think he's potentially as good as Harry Maguire. Obviously, Harry Maguire's got quite a lot more development in him than Toby Alderweireld, because obviously Harry Maguire's 26. Obviously, Toby Alderweireld is he what 30 or 31 years of age, but of course Alderweireld is still Premier League proven, because he has served 4 years with Tottenham, and he has demonstrated in his 4-year period mostly that he can hold his line well, he can play out from the back, but I do believe he has a bit lost that yard of pace a little bit, and obviously, like I said, Alderweireld of course is currently aging up, but yeah, we've been actually we was actually in for Alderweireld last summer, but I do believe he's going to be leaving Tottenham, because obviously he has refused to currently sign a new contract. Obviously with Koulibaly, he's totally out of the equation, I would say, because I did say initially I think the only way we'd get Koulibaly is if we obviously we was willing to pay him a silly amount of money, and obviously looking at it, Koulibaly is going to cost quite a lot more money than Harry Maguire and all that, so yeah, so I think Koulibaly's totally out of the equation. Obviously, he was in for De Ligt at one point. Obviously, De Ligt now to Manchester United is not going to happen, because obviously, he has currently gone to Juventus. Obviously, was in for Rafael Varane, but obviously, Rafael Varane and that is staying at Real Madrid. So there has been a lot of central defenders on our agenda. I think we was willing to break the bank for the defender last summer, because I think we was actually willing to spend up to £100 million, of course, on a central defender, because obviously, we do need world class central defender and all that. But yeah, so it's looking likely, it's going to be Harry Maguire that's currently going to be coming in. But look at the recent plays that have been mentioned. So we get Harry Maguire, that's going to take our spending spree up to around £148 million. We get Bruno Fernandes. I know Sporting Lisbon want around £70 million for him, or well, Sporting Lisbon's presidents now said, they probably maybe would consider accepting a bid in the excess of around 56 or maybe £57 million. So we'll call it £60 million for Bruno Fernandes. So that's that's around what 200. That's around what £208 million. If we got the deal over line for Bruno Fernandes, say £60 million, and then obviously we're also in for Nicolas Pepe from Lille. That's going to be around at least £70 million. So that's going to, I'm just adding it up in my head. That's around what £268 million or something like that. £268 million, £270 million, of course, on another 3 players and all that. And so yeah, so I think the club, do need to continue to sell players, to help us generate funds, and of course rebuild the squad and all that. But like I've been updating you on a regular basis, about Nicolas Pepe from Lille. Obviously, reports were indicating out over the weekend now saying, we are considered the favourites to sign Nicolas Pepe from Lille. And again, this was actually stemming from Duncan Castles. This was stemming from Duncan Castles, who was actually writing in the Sunday Times, and he indicated out over the weekend that Manchester United have moved ahead of Liverpool and Arsenal in the race to sign Nicolas Pepe, because we do know Nicolas Pepe has been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. He has been widely spoken about, for quite some time, including this window and all that. And it is looking very, very likely, that Nicolas Pepe, of course, is currently going to be leaving Lille. I do believe Nicolas Pepe's first choice preference is Liverpool, so I think he's keen on making the move to Liverpool. Liverpool have made initial contact with his representatives, but Liverpool have not yet, made any formal offer for the current player. But yeah, quite a lot of teams have inquired about his current services. But it doesn't. Recent reports have said that it actually does say that Manchester United are progressing in negotiations with Lille over the transfer of Nicolas Pepe. I think reportedly, we are orchestrating on putting in around a £70 million bid and that for the current player. Also, we do know Arsenal in for him. I think Arsenal have been in for Nicolas Pepe since January. I do believe, I think Arsenal will find it very difficult to get him. I don't think they'll be able to afford him, to be quite honest, because obviously Arsenal have got a tight budget. They've only got around 40 or 45 million pounds spent. So Arsenal need to offload a couple of their players, to help them generate funds, to meet that £70 million valuation. Because Lille, do rate, Nicolas Pepe at around £70 million. Obviously, Arsenal can't offer him Champions League football. Also, Manchester United and that can't offer him Champions League football. Liverpool and that can offer him Champions League football. Everton have obviously inquired about his services, but like I said, I don't think he'll go to Everton. So I'm very sceptical about him going to Everton, because obviously Everton can't offer him any European football and all that. And obviously a player of Nicolas Pepe's calibre is obviously going to want to be in European football and all that. But he did quote out last week that where we've had a long-standing interest in that in the play, and looking at it, is the obvious candidate for the right win for Manchester United, because obviously he is primarily a winner, and I would be excited about the prospect of linking Nicolas Pepe up with the likes of Rashford, Martial, Mason Greenwood and all that. I really would be excited about the prospect of linking him up with all them, and I think he'd blend in our attacking line really, really well. But I think any team that Nicolas Pepe went to, I think he would do really, really well. But if it comes to the Premier League, I do believe it will be the next step for him. It will be the current next step for him. I do believe he's definitely got all the attributes to definitely succeed in the Premier League as Nicolas Pepe. But so far, he has spent the entirety of his career in France. Obviously, he's been at Lille a couple of seasons. He was the revelation for Lille last season. He scored 22 goals and provided 11 assists in total in all competitions for Lille. I think he has scored around 37 goals in 79 appearances and that in all competitions. So his stats are really, really impressive. So he can score goals, he can create, he can provide assists. He's really, really good at creating chances. I do believe Nicolas Pepe is also very, very good in the air. He's still got, I think, 3 years left on his current contract with Lille. But this got confirmed, was it, a couple of months ago, saying that obviously he's going to be leaving Lille and all that. Obviously, the Lille chairman had confirmed this, but it still remains uncertain. Where Nicolas Pepe will be currently applying his trade this season and all that. But I think his preference is a move to Liverpool. We do know PSG have also been in for him. At one point, Bayern Munich and that were in for him a couple of weeks ago. Inter Milan and that were in for him. So many teams have inquired about his services, and he's only 24 years of age. So he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as Nicolas Pepe. But it would be good for him, to come to the Premier League. But I think if he went to Arsenal, he'd probably fit their system well. If he went to Liverpool, he'd definitely fit their system well, because I think he'd blend in good alongside the likes of Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah and all that. But yeah, so if we get Nicolas Pepe, we do know anyway he's going to cost us in the excess of £70 million at least, because obviously Lille do rate him at around £70 million and all that. But yeah, them three players, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes and Nicolas Pepe. So Harry Maguire 80 million, Bruno Fernandes say about £60 million. That's about £140 million there, and then plus £70 million for Nicolas Pepe. So probably them three players, looking at it, adding it up, it's around £210 million for them current three players and all that. Nicolas Pepe could still come to Manchester United, but I don't think it will currently happen. In my opinion, it may happen, but I don't think it will currently happen, because maybe a player of his calibre wants to be in Champions League football, and Manchester United can't offer him this. And this is what I did say: it's going to be hard for us to attract players to elite level, because we're not in Champions League football, and I do believe it's also going to be hard for us, to convince our imperative players to remain at the football club. But yeah, there's been a lot of winners on our current agenda and all that, and we may not get a right winner in this summer, but we've definitely not got to get a right winner in. I think we're okay on the left hand side, because we've got Daniel James on that left hand side. Obviously, Daniel James is primarily plays off the left, but he can also play on the right. But he primarily plays off the left because he's supposed to be, he's actually more effective from that current left hand side and all But looking at we have got pace now up front. We have got a bit of pace now into the team. That's something was lacking last season. We didn't. We were lacking a lot of pace last season because but we have now got pace in the team. You've got Daniel James who's got electrifying pace. There's still improvements needed in Daniel James's games, but I think he's done well in pre-season for so far, and he needs time to develop. But you've got Rashford who's got pace. You've got Martial who's got pace. You've also got Mason Greenwood's got pretty decent pace and all that. And obviously Mason Greenwood has been assured more first team football. Of course, going on into this season and all that. And obviously he's going to be promoted into the first team. Is Mason Greenwood, but he's done fantastic so far in pre-season. He's only 17 years of age. Is Mason Greenwood. So we have currently got a pace up front, but I still believe Manchester United need the right winning. We have got Chong, but I think Chong is currently too inexperienced and that at the moment. But as we all do know, Pogba and Lukaku, of course, have both been relentlessly, linked to a move away from the football club. Lukaku, of course, has been heavily linked to a move to Inter Milan, and obviously, Pogba's been linked to a move to Real Madrid and Juventus. And obviously, both players have blatantly made it clear that they do, obviously, want to leave Manchester United. But I do believe, based on the extortionate amount, we've put on Paul Pogba and Romelu Lukaku. This could be a stumbling block of, both players, making their proposed moves away and that from Manchester United. But like I've been updating you about, Romelu Lukaku and all that, we do know, obviously, he's been heavily linked with move to Inter Milan. Obviously, Antonio Conte has identified, Romelu Lukaku as his number one target. Obviously, for the majority of the summer, Lukaku has been speaking about his proposed move to Inter Milan. And obviously, we do know talks have been going on for quite some time, between Inter Milan and Manchester United. And obviously, Lukaku himself has obviously confirmed that he does want to leave the football club. Because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had held talks with Romelu Lukaku the other week, and pleading him to stay for one more season. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does want Romelu Lukaku to stay at Manchester United, even though he has surplus to requirements at the football club. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably still knows how much an imperative player he is, even though he has initially lost his place in the team. Because obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference has been Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku, and I do believe Lukaku has obviously become infuriated with this, and I do believe he is unhappy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And obviously, Lukaku has not yet made an appearance on tour. Obviously, Lukaku did not play against Inter Milan, as obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirmed in his press conference prior to the game that Lukaku wouldn't have been playing, which he didn't, because obviously apparently Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he wasn't fully fit. So obviously, that added more speculation in regards to Romelu Lukaku's long-term future. But actually, I think it was just moments before the game, was it a couple of hours before the game, something like that, if I'm right. Inter Milan, of course, had put a £54 million bid in for Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer because that's too insufficient. Because obviously, we're looking for somewhere in the region of around nearly £90 million. So obviously, we're looking to recoup the money that we did pay for Romelu Lukaku, back in 2017 from Everton. Because we obviously, we got him for £75 million. Obviously, there were several add-ons, including a deal around £15 million. So that adds potential to around £90 million and all that. So obviously, Lukaku is our second most expensive signing. So we're looking to recruit what we paid for him from Everton, or we even orchestrate, gaining a little bit of a profit. But obviously, I do believe our valuation, seems to be the stumbling block of Lukaku making him his proposed move and that to Inter Milan. But Antonio Conte has definitely identified him as the number one target, because reflecting back a couple of years ago, Antonio Conte, wanted Romelu Lukaku. This is when he was Chelsea manager, but obviously, he ended up making the move to Manchester United. So he has been a long admirer of the player as Antonio Conte. But obviously, I think also Inter Milan have inquired about, getting Lukaku on a 2-year loan, because obviously I think they did initially make an offer of a 2-year loan worth around £9 million up front. We've then the obligation, to currently buy. We've then the obligation, to currently buy at the end of the loan for around a further £54 million and all that. So that amounts up to around £63 million in total, including the £9 million up front for the loan. But obviously, Manchester United didn't entertain this offer because we're only willing to let Lukaku, of course, go on a permanent deal. Reports actually indicated that was it a month or two ago now, saying that allegedly Lukaku had agreed to personal terms with Inter Milan. He said he also agreed a contract worth around 180 grand a week, but obviously no fee has yet come to an agreement. And I do believe Inter Milan are under financial fair play restrictions, and Inter Milan have been trying to offload a couple of their players to help them generate funds to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation. Obviously, maybe Mario Cardi's future hinges on whether you know, Inter Milan, of course, get Romelu Lukaku or not, because I do believe Mario Cardi has obviously, you know, been linked to a move to Juventus, hasn't he? I think recent reports, you know, were actually, you know, indicating now, actually, you know, saying that, you know, Icardi had agreed about a 5-year deal, was it, with Juventus worth around £7 million, plus bonuses included. I think it did currently say. But Inter Milan have obviously, you know, been trying to offer us, you know, they've offered a couple of their players, you know, to, well, we're unwilling to accept swap deals that Inter Milan have offered us. So, like I said, Inter Milan have tried offering us a couple of their players, you know, to get Romelu Lukaku. So, they've obviously tried offering us Mario Cardi. They've also tried offering us Perisic before. I think they also tried offering us Radja Nainggolan. So, obviously, you know, Manchester United again are not currently, you know, willing to go along with this. But Lukaku, you know, did describe Antonio Conte as one of the best managers in the world. And I do believe Lukaku does want to play under Antonio Conte's guidance, because probably believes he'll flourish under Antonio Conte's guidance and all that. But yeah, his transfer saga away from Manchester United, you know, does continue to persist. So maybe Inter Milan now will orchestrate on coming up with a new bid. It actually reported out last week, I think, from Sky Sports, saying that, you know, Inter Milan were, well, they made a plan, you know, reportedly they was willing to meet that 75 or 80 million pound valuation, but Inter Milan want payments to be, they wanted payments to be structured, so they're willing to meet the valuation, but only with bonuses included in the payment. So reportedly it did say Inter Milan were willing to spend a guaranteed £60 million over the course of the next 3 years. They reportedly would pay around 40 million of that up front, with the remaining £20 million to be paid in instalments over the course of the next few years, and all that. And there was 15 million add-ons included, you know, dependent on how, you know, Lukaku of course performs at the San Siro. But yeah, so reportedly, you know, Lukaku could stay at the football club. You know, he has been here, 2 years? You know, he's still got 3 years left on his contract with Manchester United, don't forget. And he scored 42 goals in 96 games for the club in all competitions. And, you know, he was exceptional in his first season was Lukaku. You know, didn't, of course, really replicate that in his second season. But you do know I've got strong concerns about Lukaku. You know, he's, there's such concerns me. You know, he's a big game bottler. You know, he doesn't really get enough them runs in behind. He hasn't really, you know, got a lot of endless potential. But I credit Lukaku. You know, his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. You know, he's well Premier League proven him a lot, because he has scored a lot of goals in the Premier League. But like I said, you know, Lukaku has not yet played on tour. Probably will, you know, get given him his opportunity and all that. And if Lukaku does leave the football club, I think it'll be beneficial for Manchester United. It'll also be beneficial for him. But I think, you know, if we get rid of him, it'll help us with our transition. It'll also, you know, help us with our rebuilding process and all that. But if it goes, we're definitely going to need a replacement for him without a shadow of a doubt. And there's been quite a few players mentioned, you know, who could replace Romelu Lukaku and that at the football club. And obviously, a lot of talks were going on last week, you know, about Patrick Emerick Aubameyang from Arsenal, as you all know. Obviously, last week it actually reported out, this was coming from the Italian press, by the way, saying that reportedly, you know, Manchester United had submitted around the £62 million bid for Patrick Emerick Aubameyang. And I do believe, you know, he would be a good adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku, you know, with Aubameyang, because, you know, based on his experience in that, it would be beneficial for Manchester United. You know, his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic. You know, he's got that proven pedigree as a central striker. Because actually, as we all do know, Aubameyang is obviously, you know, predominantly a striker, but he can also play out wide, so he can play on the left. He can also play out on the right. Can Aubameyang? But reportedly, you know, we put around £62 million bidding for him. Initially, these stories broke out. Was it around 5 weeks ago? And he was actually, you know, stemming from Andy Goldstein. You know, he actually said that Manchester United, you know, were interested in Aubameyang. He's a presenter of TalkSport, by the way, is Andy Goldstein. He said Man United were interested in Aubameyang, and he did allegedly say that Aubameyang had agreed a transfer to Manchester United, because I do believe, you know, that Arsenal are open to selling him. You know, they are open to selling him, but I do believe, you know, Arsenal, you know, would want to at least recoup the initial £56 million that they did pay for him from Dortmund back in January 2018. But it reportedly said Man United had submitted the £62 million, but it reported out about 4 or 5 weeks ago that we was willing to offer in the excess around £70 million for his services. So obviously, you know, we're intending on, you know, if we'd, well, obviously, you know, we'd put that money on of what we obviously, you know, we raise for, you know, the departure of Lukaku and all that, and we'd probably, you know, put that, of course, on Patrick Emerick Aubameyang. But I do like him a lot, and I've always liked Aubameyang, you know, especially, you know, during his brushy Dortmund days and all that. Obviously, he's got 2 years left on his contract with Arsenal. Obviously, you know, he's 38 years in virtue, of course. He is, you know, currently aging up. I think recently there's been talks about Aubameyang, you know, going to China. Obviously, you know, I think he'd been allegedly offered around 300 grand a week, you know, to go play in the Chinese Super League with Aubameyang. But yeah, his goal scoring pedigree is fantastic. fantastic. He's got that in his potential. He's a good runner. He's good in the air. Very, very good player, indeed. And I do believe probably Arsenal do know how much of an imperative player he is. Last season he won the Golden Boot. He was joint top goal scorer alongside Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane. In all competitions last season for Arsenal, he currently scored 31 goals. Did Aubameyang, but yeah, I would be excited about him. Being in our front line. Linking up with the likes of Rashford and Martial. I think he will blend in. Absolutely fantastic. And he's got around a year and a half of experience now under his belt in the Premier League as a Aubameyang. But yeah, and I think he would probably make a similar sort of impact. To how Robin van Persie did. When we signed Van Persie from Arsenal. Back in 2012 and all that. And you can honestly say that in Ferguson's last season that Robin van Persie did win as the league. Reflecting on the amount of goals that he currently scored. But Man United and Arsenal have done business and all that. I don't think there's a lot of credibility in Aubameyang to Manchester United. If I'm going to be quite honest, so he's one of the players mentioned who could replace Lukaku. There's still people talking about Wissam Ben Yedder from Sevilla, and I think based on Wissam Ben Yedder's experience, again it will be beneficial. I think his goal scoring pedigree, he's pretty good. He's Wissam Ben Yedder's, like I said, 28 years of age. I think he's been at Sevilla. Is it around I think he's been at Sevilla about 3 years now, hasn't he? Wissam Ben Yedder. I think it's about 3 years. He has currently been there. Obviously, still got 2 years left on his contract with Sevilla. I think he's around 5'7" and all that. But I do believe his initial release clause is around 36 million pounds. I'd said Wissam Ben Yedder's to Manchester United. Of course, he's dependent on what happens with Lukaku. But I always said, I always thought there was a lot of credibility, in Wissam Ben Yedder and that, coming to Manchester United. But yeah, there was talks about, Ben Yedder, going on, was it around 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I believe, he would be a good replacement for Lukaku. I think Sevilla, actually got him from Toulouse, or was it for around 8 or 9 million pounds, if I'm currently right. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot of credibility in that. Some people say, Dybala, would be a good replacement for Lukaku. Obviously, Dybala said, 4 years there with Juventus. Haven't heard much news about, Dybala quite lately. There were talks saying that he could possibly leave Juventus, because obviously he was service to requirements at Juventus last season, because obviously since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, obviously Paul Dybala has found game time, very, very difficult. Is he 25, 26, Dybala and all that? But he's in the majority of his 4 years with Juventus, he has, currently proved himself. But, I have got, some concerns about Dybala and all that. Some of his touches concern me and all that. But would he have all the attributes, to come and succeed in the Premier League, Dybala? And that would be the current question. He hasn't really, let's be honest, he hasn't really got the experience of playing to the highest level as Dybala, hasn't he? I know he's played in Champions League and all that, but yeah, he's played to the highest level in the Champions League and all that. But I mean, with a competitively level football club, and Juventus are pretty dominant in Italy. But obviously, we do know the Premier League is one of the best in the world, without one of the best leagues in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, there's talks about Dybala. Some people would say, Mario Icardi would be a good replacement for Lukaku, because again, Icardi's goal scoring pedigree is currently good. So if Lukaku was to leave, who would you bring in to currently replace him? Maybe some people say, probably wouldn't need a current replacement and all that. But like I said, I think, Darmian and Rojo definitely, Manchester United need to sell Darmian and Rojo, because I think, both players have endured difficult times at the club. Obviously, with Darmian, he hasn't really been given the chance. And with Rojo, I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected, reflecting on the amount of injuries he has currently sustained. With Sanchez, we do know he's going to continue applying his trade with Manchester United going on to this season. Obviously, he probably will get his opportunity on tour. Obviously, he's been injured at the moment, so he has not yet, like I said, made an appearance on tour. Obviously, for the majority of the summer, we've been trying to get rid of Sanchez, but obviously the club have found it difficult. Obviously, regarding his substantial wages, and like I said, his wages are having a really bad effect on the football club and all that. But I do believe now Sanchez is currently going to be remaining at Manchester United. Obviously, as I said, good news in regards to David De Gea. Obviously, like I updated you before, obviously David De Gea is on the verge of signing a 6-year contract with Manchester United. Obviously, this 6-year contract term is worth around £117 million over 6 years. So obviously, this is going to make him the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. And also, I think he's set to earn around $375,000 a week in this 6-year deal. And obviously, in his current deal at the moment, David De Gea is on around $200,000 a week. So David De Gea is going to get a pay rise of around 175,000 and all that. So he's going to get a huge pay rise. He's currently David De Gea. But yeah, it's a 6-year contract, so he probably will take him under contract. Is it till 2025? Also, probably take him to the age of around 34, something like that, because I think he's around 28 or 29 now. Isn't he, David De Gea? So he has still got a lot of years ahead of him as David De Gea. But like I said, very impressed about David De Gea staying at the club. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did recently say, he indicated out that David De Gea is close to signing a new deal, and he also basically said, that it's just up to the club and David De Gea, of course, when they do currently announce the contract. But yeah, very, very happy about this. But we've been in negotiations of trying to get David De Gea a new contract at least for the last 18 or 19 months, and all that. For quite some time, Manchester United, we're not willing to meet his 350 grand a week, £350,000 a week wage demands. We allegedly had around 300 grand a week for him on the table at the turn of the year, but obviously, this is too insufficient for David De Gea, because that's around £50,000, and his current wage £50,000 less than what he's currently demanding. But now reportedly, he's agreed a 6-year contract term and all that, which is very, very good. Obviously, there was breakthrough in negotiations, was it, a couple of weeks ago, between David De Gea's agent George Mendes and the club. So this is very, very good news. David De Gea has been long-serving. He's been here 8 years. Obviously, won everything here domestically. He's been here, since the Alex Ferguson era. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the last 6 years. Based on his fantastic performances and all that. But at one point, it was looking likely, that David De Gea was going to be leaving the club. Obviously, he had been, linked to a move to Real Madrid. Well, he was linked with Real Madrid for a number of years. Obviously, he was linked with a £60 million move to PSG. Obviously, PSG, did, lose Buffon. Obviously, they had set their interest up in David De Gea, but then it obviously said they turned their attentions more on Donnarumma from AC Milan. So I think this year PSG obviously withdrawn their interest. I think also Juventus and that were in for him. But yeah, so we have now progressed in contract negotiation, so he's going to be remaining loyal to the club, and I think he's had about 6.5, 7 good years at Manchester United. Out of the 8 years he has been here, he wasn't so good last season. Obviously, he was making costly mistakes towards the back end of last season, probably mainly to do with the contracts related situation. But very, very glad, of course, that David De Gea is going to be staying at the football club. Very, very happy about that indeed. Obviously, that's very, very good news. But like I said, hopefully Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, can get Manchester United, back to glory and all that. Obviously, we've got to get back to glory, because we have been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. Obviously, the main factor is why we've been a toxic club, because obviously, we've been mismanaged, and obviously, this is the main factor reason why we have been, of course, under-achieving, because we've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club, and all that. Obviously, players have come in, and of course, players have gone and all that. So like I did say, we have got to get the right players to Manchester United and that this summer. But like I said, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I do believe he's the right man that can, take Manchester United forward. But I do believe we're going to be better going on into this season. Like I said, we've had a great start to pre-season. 3 wins out of 3. Obviously, 7 goals scored. 7 goals scored. No goals conceded. Obviously, our next game in pre-season is obviously Tottenham on Thursday. I think it's in Shanghai, in China, and all that. I think it's an after 12 kickoff. After 12 kickoff again in the UK. But yeah, we've had a great start and that to pre-season. But like I did say, pre-season's meaningless. I think it's really, really good, to for the upcoming players, to get a bit more of experience and that under their belt and all that. So yeah, that's very, very good. But yeah, I think the young players have really, really stepped up so far and that in pre-season. But like I said, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I know what squad he wants to rebuild, because obviously he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. And obviously, analysing, the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's only at this present time there's only 2 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, and that's obviously Daniel James and of course Wan-Bissaka and all that. So obviously, he's still inheriting 11 Jose Mourinho's players. There's still quite a few players even Van Gaal. There's Matt from the David Moyes era that he's inheriting, and he's still inheriting around 4 or 5 players even of course from the Alex Ferguson era. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So like I did say, still lots to address in the squad. And as our current squad stands at the moment at this present time, it isn't good enough or consistent enough. And I did say, regardless of who our manager is, even if we had a manager to the highest level, right now managing this squad, they will currently struggle with this Manchester United squad. But like I said, if Harry Maguire comes in, if Bruno Fernandes and that comes in, that's going to dramatically improve us a lot. And if we can get them deals concluded, that is a good business and that from Manchester United, like I currently said. That is a very, very good business and that from Manchester United, if we can, currently do that. But like I said, Solskjaer, hopefully, can take a Manchester United forward. So the main part of this video, was to give you the latest news about Gareth Bale. Obviously, we do know now reportedly, he's obviously going to be leaving Real Madrid by the looks of things, as Zinedine Zidane himself has confirmed. Reportedly now, his likely destination he's going to be playing in China in the Chinese Super League, because reportedly he's been offered around £1 million a week, to play there, and reportedly he has actually, agreed to go and play in the Chinese Super League. So I do believe he will become the first player, to receive £1 million a week, Gareth Bale. I think at Real Madrid, he must be on around, what is it, 600 grand a week in total or something like that. He's on at Real Madrid, and he's on substantial. His wages are absolutely substantial. Of course, are Gareth Bale's. But yeah. So like I said with Bruno Fernandes, I wanted to give you the news about him now. Obviously, it's been a delay at the moment. Obviously, Federico Fernandes, obviously, he's the president of Sporting Lisbon. He's now come out and said, what he's basically, revealed what fee basically, Manchester United have to pay if obviously, of what chance, if we've got any chances, of course, of signing Bruno Fernandes. And it has been suggested now that we'll probably have to pay in the excess of at least, £56 million, to convince Sporting Lisbon and that to offload him. But obviously, recently, the boss of Sporting Lisbon came out and he said that Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United is probable and all that. So it's looking very likely that Bruno Fernandes, of course, is going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.